So having this capacity to be informed by nature, to act, and then make the world more beautiful around us and regenerate this planet. We have so many instances where we feel the fabric of our world is falling apart or the scars of our soil are exposed. But we have all the solutions to be able to recreate and build up the forestry around us, or the natural ecology mimicking nature around us, and bringing in ideas from traditional cultures all around our planet. First, looking, of course, at the local traditional relationships and cultural understandings, which maybe we only know a little bit about, but to inform that design of nature to be able to thrive again. And it always helps me. The nature part helps me with the people part, which helps all of it come together for our future.
Hello and welcome. I am your host, Tennille Christensen from Earth Mumma, where I teach people to get skilled in sustainability. This is the Permaculture Herbalism segment brought to you by the Elder Tree, where we are putting the medicine in the hands of people. Thank you for tuning in. I'm recording from my studio in Jabberkai land of Kuranda, Australia. And I'm going to give my respects today and always to the First Nations people, past, present and future, and offer my gratitude for the opportunities to learn their ancient wisdom in our modern world, bridging time and culture so we may all thrive. This segment is all about merging the world of permaculture and herbalism, so the art and science of ecological design and plant wisdom or plant medicine, so that we can cultivate healthy landscapes and people. If you want to be involved, you can be part of the Elder Tree Trove, which is our Patreon community. Stay tuned to this episode for more information, and without further ado, let's get into the interview.
If we would open our ears, what would we hear?
Hello and welcome to this episode where I had the great honor of interviewing Annaliese Hordern. Now, she is part of the Regeneration for People and Planet. Annaliese is the creative director of the Changemakers Permaculture Design course, which is a 2-week immersion that teaches people how to connect with living systems. And she draws on over 2 decades of traveling locally and globally to learn about the people and the plants, the eco communities, and working with other permaculture pioneers all around regenerative practices and bringing them to people and the land. Some of the highlights of Annaliese's career, in which really is imbued within this discussion and the wisdom that she shares, is her 15-year role in the herbal education aspect at the Happy Herb Company. She also spent 4 years with the Green Harvest Seed Company in doing propagation, horticulture, and ethnobotanical education. And she has presented and also curated the event program of the Symbiosis Symposium with Dennis McKenna, as well as being on the editorial team for the Permaculture Design Notes, which is an incredible book or resource for all the permies out there and all the educators. And so that's actually available for all of our listeners for a free download. So make sure you check out the show notes. In essence, Annaliese calls people to a greater service to Mother Earth, and how she does that is obviously through the way she lives her life, but she also offers services to support and help people refine their life purpose. She holds space, women's circles, she DJs for aesthetic dance sets, and in so many ways she shares her heartbeat amongst our community. So it's a real pleasure to be able to offer this interview in the form of a video, which is on offer. Well, it's for all of our Trove members within our Patreon community, and obviously the audio is available as the podcast within all of our different podcast streams. But if you want to get up close and watch the video and learn and see our conversation and the plants that she's holding up, it's a really great opportunity to watch that through that platform. Welcome, and thank you so much for sharing this podcast space with me. I've just did a beautiful introduction, so we're going to jump straight into this juicy conversation, and I'd love for you to share what it is that, why is permaculture such an important part of your life?
Thank you, Tennille, for the opportunity to speak with you today and also to support the elder tree. And what a beautiful sunny day it is today. It's just been here in the sunny coast, rain, this gorgeous wet time. And with permaculture, I find it helps me to relate to the environment around me so much. And it helps me to tune into natural systems, natural cycles. So, for example, with all of this rain that we've been having, I want to utilize that as a strength. I want to bring in that water into my spirit. I want to be nurtured by it. I want to use that water of my tears. I want to pump up my energy with my blood. I want to drink lots of tea. I want to nourish and utilize that kind of cocooning energy. Last night we had a cloud forest all around us. So, just dropping into that space of mimicking and working with our natural environments. And that really is what permaculture is for me. And it's a system of design with principles and ethics that help me to understand and make greater sense of the world around us. And for example, if ever I have a problem or I'm a bit kind of stumped with something, then I can think, how does nature do it? How does nature deal with that? So, for example, if we might have a neighbor that's blowing some pretty strong wind in our direction, just like, whoa, like a prevailing wind, if we're thinking about landscape and nature. And from that prevailing wind, if I haven't got a really good buffer or a shelter belt or something there to protect me, wow, perhaps I need to, grow a shelter belt to bring something that kind of can help to filter out or deflect like a shelter belt does. That 60% airflow over, but 40% listening. And then what can I do to offer back in that direction? Well, rather than reacting, I can act. And a solution could be planting a really nice flower hedge in that direction. So, having this capacity to be informed by nature, to act, and then make the world more beautiful around us and regenerate this planet. We have so many instances where we feel the fabric of our world is falling apart or the scars of our soil are exposed. But we have all the solutions to be able to recreate and build up the forestry around us with a natural ecology mimicking nature around us and bringing in ideas from traditional cultures all around our planet. First, looking, of course, at the local traditional relationships and cultural understandings, which maybe we only know a little bit about, but to inform that design of nature to be able to thrive again. And it always helps me. The nature part helps me with the people part, which helps all of it come together for our future. And having those foundational ethics of caring for our earth, caring for our people, and caring for our future. If anything we're doing doesn't have those components strongly as a non-negotiable foundation, it's not really permaculture.
Yeah. Really bringing permaculture inside and learning, living by nature. That sounds so beautiful. Thanks for that share. So being that we are weaving in herbal medicine and we're on the topic of plants and permaculture, could you share how you integrate plants into your daily life?
Oh, absolutely. So I love to grow plants, and wherever I go, I will actually, there's some here. I will make posies of plants. So this is some, I mean, have a think for a moment. What kind of leaf does this look like if you are certain or uncertain about plants? This is a sweet potato. It's purple raven sweet potato, and it's one of my favorite plants to have in a posy or vase. For example, with yarrow. And we also have here some Mexican tarragon. And that just brings so much joy for me to be able to harvest plants that I have relationships with and I know how to use, but also to have them as beautiful, like to bring beautification and loveliness into my life and into my home and into my altars and wherever I go to take them. Um, but really getting to know plants and to understand them better. And so I've been working at Green Harvest for I've spent 4 years with them. Just like tragically but liberatingly, the garden has closed, and so I've been amongst the. These are from the gardens at Green Harvest. Jeff and Francis invited me to go and dig out some of the remaining plants there because obviously a plant person isn't taking on that garden as that incredible business is closing, that family-run permaculture business. But coming back to your question of how I really am bringing plants into my life every day, I'm walking through my gardens, I'm harvesting them, I'm touching them, I'm relating to them, and I grow to understand and know their benefits. For example, the purple leaf of plants are filled with anthocyanins and antioxidants, so that's really health giving. Like think about the blue zones of the world where people live the longest. It's that purple corn, the blueberries, those lovely anthocyanin and antioxidant rich plants. So being able to use these and harvest them and have the knowledge and understanding and the research capacity to understand about the ethnobotany of the plants, the plant people relationships. How did people, like cultivating a mind of inquiry and interest, how were these plants used in ceremonies? How were they used in our foods? How were they used to be preserved in leaner times? How were they used to brighten up the family's daily life? And for example, the Mexican tarragon. I was in Mexico last year. I'm returning there again soon. And the Temescal tradition of the sweat lodge there, they bring in plants and they dip the plants into the water. And then with big bunches of tarragon and rosemary and sages, salvias, wild Mexican and highly aromatic plants are laid upon the hot stones and also really nicely, like really like pushed into the body. Last night we were at Crystal Waters at Scott's his sauna, and he brought in a really lovely big branch of tea tree and said, "Here, Annaliese, dip that into the water and lay it on those stones." And I was like, "Yes." It was so good. Sure, we had tea tree oil there, but to lay the plants down and to smell the aroma. And then I picked up that big, huge branch and just swirled it around the space. And we were all just absorbed by that beauty of bringing the plants in directly harvested from just outside. So using them in my daily life and my food, I like to go out into my gardens and I'll harvest a salad of, say, 12 different varieties of plants. And that creates for me a sense of being able to have self-resiliency. So at my doorstep outside, there's Herb Robert, which is really great for our brain, for recovery, and increases oxygen in our bodies. Mushroom plant with vitamin K and other really good strong elements. Okinawa spinach, sambang nawa, and different kinds of mints like perennial, different mints, Japanese mint, say Moroccan mint, um, different kinds of basils like shiso and perennial coriander, nasturtiums, even farmers' friends sprouts that are high in iron. Egyptian spinach with their really nice mucilaginous leaves that are going to be nourishing my colon, Timor lettuce that grow really strong, that are like the bush lettuce or the tree lettuce, Darwin's lettuce that grows really well in this wet climate, and the seeds always, so once you have one plant, they're always going to drop and then create more of those plants. Yacon, cucamelon, tamarillo, kumquat, these are all different plants that I want to eat regularly, so I can have that connection. I can walk around my home, my gardens, and with that knowledge, then wherever I go in the world, I'll be finding gotu kola and other salvias and plants, and with that understanding, I can always translate that connection to different places, and especially in my home gardens, and support other people to understand about that, and being able to just have that strong nutrition that's not relied upon a truck bringing that food that's dropping its nutrition by the hour towards my point of purchase there. And every time that we're choosing local, we're not choosing a truck, essentially. What does it take to get a truck on the road? Come on, everyone. What does it take to get a truck on the road? Think about it. We got tires, lubrication, steel, oil, all the oil that ends up on the ground, petroleum. Where's that coming from? Whose lives are destroyed because of mining all of those various aspects? Whose country is being disrespected? So really, like, the follow-on effect, and it's still impossible to do life without me being involved with that, but by being able to reach out to my garden and reach out to the things that are always growing well, getting that relationship of what grows really well in our environment. And we can look to things like where we are on the planet. So we've got the equatorial regions, and if you're living in the equatorial regions, anywhere along there, it's likely that foods growing here are going to be able to grow here really well too. And then what are they doing to preserve or store or ferment that you could use here? And same thing at the further out of the poles region, so the temperate zones or the subtropical zones or the more Arctic zones. See what other plants and cultures are being used in that space. Not cultures being used, but what are cultures using and how are they preparing, and get inspiration from that to remember how we can really localize our food sources. And the other thing I love to do with plants is to use them in ceremony. So to be able to, and that's often with the ignition of using fire. So being able to make offerings to fire with plants or on hot stones. I'm a woman who runs a Nipi and Sweat Lodge with the blessings of my Sundance family in Canada and now Mexico as well too. And by having that cedar and that eucalyptus and that copal, that sweetgrass, the lavender, and offering those to the stones and breathing that in and helping to support people to make transformative moments in their life, giving away what they don't need, and drawing that the goodness. And those plants help open hearts. They help open that prayer. They help open people to connect, be vulnerable, and with that giveaway, fill them with goodness and a space of reconnection. And plants are an enormous part of how we can make better sense of the world around us.
So beautiful, so rich. And I've heard you refer to your beautiful garden. I've got the imagery of you walking around and all of those plants there now. And when you said Okinawa, I was like, yes, that's got the purple in it too. You referred to it as the tea garden. So do you have a lot of plants there specifically to make herbal teas with? Is that the connection there?
Yeah, well, we're in Tree Haven, and I decided we had this kind of funny flip on it to call it Tea Haven, because really we drink a lot of tea here. A lot of tea conversations happen. It's very much less about um, alcohol or a lot of stimulants of other varieties. But being able to, utilize, this is lemon verbena, for example, and using lovely vessels. These are some after my papa passed away. Love you, papa. He had a lot of really interesting glasses, and so I love using them for tea and bringing them out into spaces, and making lovely elixirs and such. So, okay, so over here I've got some lemon verbena. I'm just going to break this off, actually. So I've harvested this a little while ago. The lemon verbena has little white flowers on it here. I might bring it back a bit. This is some dry. I just harvested this last week from Green Harvest. I was going around with my snips. Okay, I'm going to snip a few things. Lemon verbena, I think, got lost in my collection of plants from some of the rampant plants that came in, because it loses its leaves in the wintertime where I live. And it's such a nice, refreshing, lemony tea, and lemon balm as well. It's one of those plants here. Even using the tree plants like lemon-scented myrtle as well, which is a really delicious plant that we can also use for cleaning, and as a eucalyptus alternative or a tea tree alternative as well too. Who else do I have here?
Plants surrounding you.
I've got lots of plants. This is a tulsi or a basil, so having utilizing them in teas, and also salad dressings. I mean, whatever is your favorite salad dressing, I love them chopping up finely herbs and soaking them in. And if you've got a dinner party or something coming up, or a beloved's dinner you're preparing, then giving yourself a few days in advance to chop up some herbs and let them soak and get super aromatic in with olive oil or other carrier oils that you like to use for salad dressings. And even at the herb layer, things like fennel. This is a bronze fennel, and the tips of this, where it just starts to grow out, is so incredibly sweet. And also the texture of it. I love cutting this up really, really finely and sprinkling it on top of a meal too, and it gives that kind of nutty, fennelly taste.
Yum.
And then there's things like, many people know this one, cranberry hibiscus. All hibiscus flowers are edible. And this is related to rosella. It looks very, very similar to rosella that we know is that hibiscus that's out there in the world of teas, bringing that gorgeous red color to our tea beverages, super vitamin C, but also anthocyanins,
Yes.
antioxidants. Lots of
And
vitamin C as well here too.
when I was in Mexico recently, I saw that they utilized the cranberry hibiscus in a lot of teas. It was in many places that I was traveling.
Awesome. Oh yeah, that might be the Jamaica tea, yeah?
Yes.
Well, that's rosella. That's the
Oh, when
flower of
they
rosella.
boiled it up, it's very purple, so I thought it
Oh,
was the cranberry hibiscus.
well, there could be a mix of the two, but certainly they're using the flower of the rosella. And oh gosh, when you've just been drinking that every day, and then you come back to Australia and like, really want to make a tea.
Yeah.
Like,
Missing
"Can
it.
you make a tea?" Yeah, and they make it cool. They make like imagine this hot pink red,
Yeah.
and just so delicious, and it's all you want to drink, you have even if you're a coffee drinker or a black tea lover. It just rocks your world. It's just such a wonderful cultural celebratory beverage,
Mm,
available everywhere in Mexico.
yeah.
It's
Mm,
delightful seeing when you go to different places the teas that are most popular. Like in Peru, in the Sacred Valley, there's a particular local mint that I remember seeing and go, I've never seen you before, but it has a smaller leaf, being at high altitude.
yep.
Obviously, in tropics, the leaves get larger, so it's a smaller, refined leaf, and it's quite a lovely hint of mint, and then kind of some more aromatic herbs in it. And then, of course, you're drinking coca as well too, for altitude, and that being a national treasure, and so that being a beautiful stimulator as well too. And yes, wherever we go, there's always beautiful plants to enjoy and refer to.
Yeah, soaking in the culture of the people and the places, but also noticing, observing their favorite plants and how they're using them. So I'm wondering, out of all of the so many plants that you are actually engaging with so regularly, is there a specific plant for you that is like that's kind of nurtured or something that you lean into more often than the others?
Oh, there's like kind of almost like 15 or so that go like us.
Me.
Collection I have called the Permaculture Lifeboat Collection, which is and it was inspired by um, the Polynesian expeditions out, just taking just those 10 basic, important, everyday plants and taking them in the canoes and then going out into the deep waters of the Pacific. And with that hope to re-establish somewhere else. And so one of those plants that's really strong for me, that I'm not sure if they were necessarily in the Polynesian collection, but I'd like to really highlight Comfrey right now. And I know it's one that you've likely covered in these sessions before. And I was speaking to Robin Clayfield earlier today, and she was saying, I really wanted to do Comfrey, but she chose turmeric. But I really want to bring Comfrey back again, because I was just digging some up at Green Harvest the other day, and I had the opportunity to share with your viewers. Okay, we're often, if you haven't seen Comfrey leaf before, this is Comfrey leaf, and this is about 4 days in the drying phase. But look how big these beautiful leaves are. They're a little bit scratchy and velvety at the same time. And then it goes down to the stem, and the pink part of the stem, if you plant that or happen to have it in a compost, that part will start to sprout a new leaf of comfrey. So it's really good, if you don't want that to happen, that you use the upper part, not this near the base part of the root. But check out the root. So this is just what I was able to dig at that point, and then it broke. So
So that's what, more than 30 centimeters, 40, 50 centimeters?
like that's a
For,
good
for those who
part.
can't see the video who are listening, it's like it's a really long root and
It's a really long root, and it goes from the top of my head to my nipple. That's the impression. And so what's going on here is, with comfrey, it's a deep nutrient cycler in the garden. So I'm going to take it from just, we talk about a lot of herbs for teas and drinking, but plants that are really good for our gardens and for us. And if we get good nutrition in our soil, then we're going to be having better quality teas and herbs and vegetables and life-sustaining systems around us. So we've got a deep nutrient cycle, and that means that it's drawing up nutrients and elements from even the parent rock. It's drawing it up, depending on, if the parent rock's really, really deep down, then but it's drawing towards the surface and therefore nourishing other plants around it with a lot of nutrients. And the leaves, these beautiful big leaves, have the same nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus ratio as a good finished compost. So after a compost has done its cycle, it's raised to temperature, it's raised down, and then it becomes like soil. So being able to cut this, chop it and drop it and nourish the soil around, even just laying it around the base of other plants, is still giving that kind of important ratio. And for people that aren't familiar, nitrogen, potassium, and phosphorus are the big nutrients that big agriculture always are putting a lot of chemically derived superphosphates or hugely like overloaded mined minerals onto the soil and depleting other areas because of it, and essentially are overfeeding plants enormously, which then goes into the soil, which goes into the water table, which then also spills down. Everything has cause and effect, right? So it takes that then then it's going down through the water systems and is ending up then in mangrove areas, if there are still ever any mangroves, or through all those freshwater, beautiful areas to the nursery grounds of coastal brackish waters, where it's so important for life to be sustained and have that a place of the interface between the ocean and the sea, the ocean and the terrestrial land. Those places have so much life. It's an edge, and in permaculture we're always looking at edges. And in that place, so much life is forming in its infancy, and so all of that load is then coming down and has to end up into the ocean, because water is always making its way down to the ocean. So comfrey, I'm going to bring it back to that. It's also a really great bee fodder. So bees will come and you'll notice that they're just loving and being so attracted to that nectar. So it's also supporting our bones. It's also known as bone knit. So it will help to knit back together broken bones. It's a great support to orchards, like knitting back and creating orchard systems. Comfrey is just so useful in many parts of our gardens. It can be used as a barrier plant. So when you have plants or strong grasses that might be trying to come into your vegetable area, or an orchard, or a special part of the garden where you don't really want grasses to be coming in, I've seen at Green Harvest, and I've now been doing this in my own edge of my banana circle, where by planting in close succession a lot of comfrey and then creating this really strong buffer, like a mini hedge that's thick and dense, it actually prevents plants like kikuyu and grasses from coming across into an area that you don't want that grass to be. So it's another way of a really good functional plant that reduces the maintenance for you having to get in there and keep pulling that grasses back. Comfrey is an excellent bee fodder, so we can nourish our bee community by having comfrey locally available. It's really easy to propagate, and from the long root, you can cut it up into small, like inch-long pieces and cover it with soil, whether you do a tray of it or whether it's in pots, or just pushing it into the soil, maybe say 20 centimeters away from the base of a fruit tree. They're really great in orchards. And then comfrey is just going to be growing up and creating again that deep nutrient cycler that then you can come through and chop and drop with a brush hook, or even with your hands. It's good for the plant to be cut, and then it's also going to be stimulating more root activity as well. It's a plant that we don't want to be growing in the middle of our vegetable garden, though, because it's a plant that's a boss. It's going to be putting its roots down really deep, like I shared, and it's going to be taking up a space. So it's a plant that we want to put towards the edge, put it near our compost, in the orchard system, but not where we're wanting to be having a small or large vegetable garden, especially if it's a very small space. It's a plant that we want to keep more for our composting cyclings, and for when we'd like to use it, say, as a poultice for sprains and bruises. So we can make a really simple poultice with it by gathering the leaves and then crushing them up, even adding some aloe vera if you have it, and layering that down where you have a strain or a broken bone. One of its other names is knit bone. So we can place it on our skin. I'm rubbing my arm right now, and wrap it up gently. And over time, over a short period of time, there is such incredible results available to you. One herbalist nurse that came on two of my last permaculture design courses over the last years, Brooke has shown me with such pleasure the befores, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4 of applying comfrey to feet, to injuries, to family members, and seeing that difference over time. So she's documenting it and being able to really share the joy of what's so locally available to us, and to support that wellness and that healing.
Hey, this is a quick interlude. I trust you're enjoying the episode thus far. Did you know that the Elder Tree is a not-for-profit organisation? We are empowering grassroots herbal education and earth skills to ensure holistic healthcare is accessible to everyone. Beyond this podcast, we have the Elder Tree Trove, which is our Patreon community. It's more than a membership, it is a space where our listeners become co-creators of our mission, which is to secure the future of herbal medicine in Australia with an education centre and healing sanctuary in far north Queensland of Australia. To be more involved, you could join us as a Patreon and become an integral part of our community. For just $2 or even $8 per month, you can stay connected with the herbalists, the healers, and the permaculturists we interview, and access their special content and offers and their ongoing expertise, all for you to harvest. Now let's get back into the interview.
So Neil, you had another question, and that was around, have I used plants, or has there been a time in my life that I've been using plants that's made a real difference in my life? And I want to come back to that use of ceremonial plants and witnessing people that have become my teachers use plants in ceremonial spaces that have brought transformation, whether it's been a tea that we've been drinking, something to assist keeping us alert and attentive all night for prayers and songs, or whether it's been laying down plants and bunches of herbs in a temescal with water, and praying and having those plants pushed into my skin and allowing me to accelerate my prayer, my intentions, to see in my heart what I need to let go of, and to support other people when I am pouring the waters in sweat lodges, in nipis, to support them with that that breath of life. When we smell the fragrance of lavender on the stones, we smell the fragrance of the copal on the hot rocks, and we smell and notice that beautiful healing resonance of cedar on the stones. It also makes me think of Welcome to Country ceremonies and the capacity to make fire from the plants around us, and having that ignition to make fire, and then being welcomed by someone of that country, that land, that space, that knows the mountains and the rivers and the soil and the earth, the seasonal timings, the relationship of when the animals are coming through, the harvest times of plants and animals and fish and insects, and to lay on that fire and to create the smoke of eucalyptus and bringing that over our bodies, and to be in a big group of people that might have come from the four directions, and here we all are together being welcomed to space and having that eucalyptus fire smoke over us and allowing us to drop in and also to let go and to be present in time and space. So bringing that reverence to plants. We live in a world that's quite irreverent of nature. And the more that I bring herbs and plants into my everyday life, which is my life, it just keeps me really well connected. So, Tennille, thanks for asking as well what's alive and thriving right now in my life, and is there a way that other people can explore some of my offerings? I'd love to share a little bit about that. So, I tend to put out what I'm doing on Facebook. So my Facebook Connect is in the program details. Coming up next week, I have a Using Medicinal Herbs online class starting the 21st of May with Tamara Griffiths. And Tamara is a very accomplished permaculture herbalist, a teacher, a designer, and she is equally using her plants every day. She's in the temperate zone. She's down in Victoria. So we're going to be holding these online classes and covering a lot of really great topics about using herbs, ways on how we can bring them into our everyday life, culinarily, ceremonially, growing them, propagating them. And each week we'll be sharing a practical aspect too, including making incenses out of herbs, as well as salad dressings and some really cool recipes as well too. And I also have the Changemakers Women's Permaculture Design course coming up in October this year at Crystal Waters Eco Village on the Sunshine Coast. And actually, if you are interested in coming to the women's course, we're offering free the 4 classes of the Using Medicinal Herbs. The opportunity to be in a permaculture design course is an opportunity to be reminded of the brilliance of life, of the water systems, the soils, the trees, of how everything is interdependent and connected, and how we can make better decisions through reading landscape, understanding the natural flows, remembering intrinsically where the sun is arising, where it's setting, and how that changes at different latitudes all over the planet, and how we can build our houses in orientation in the best way using local materials, coming back to the local heart of things, supporting our livelihoods, doing some visioning processes. And as it's just women together, we have women's circles, we share sauna, we are doing yoga, there's opportunity for massage. We'll be enjoying the delights of the Eco Village, doing its life around us, like the once a month markets, and really exploring how we can light up our life in better relationship to the natural, social, environmental world around us. Soon in September, I'm offering another Lodge of Our Heart retreat in Koa in Far North Queensland, featuring natural and elemental connection to this beautiful life around us through sweat lodges, through working with earth, air, fire, and water, having a nature sit as we contemplate the things that are on our heart and what our intentions are and what our giveaway is in this time. And so I really love supporting nourishing work of groups together to really make some momentum in our lives in the ways that are most important, and utilizing nature through that. I also have next year a Lush Women's Regenerative Retreat in Port Douglas, which is all about deepening our service to Mumma Earth with regenerative practices and connection in a lush and nourishing environment. We've had just delicious retreats in the past, and I stay quite closely in touch with all the women that have been involved in those. So yeah, Facebook's a great way to see what I'm up to, and please feel free to reach out. I also offer one-on-one services too, in terms of supporting people in mentoring or redesigning life path, or you're feeling a bit stuck and you just would like to get over some of the hurdles. I'm really here to support people. And all my income goes into just making more of this happen and to support community and to support plants and our planet thrive. I'm really here to be a part of the regeneration. And if there's anything I could add just to complete, I'd just love to say that permaculture is such an incredibly beautifully informed life path. It's a place of deep inquiry that supports us with the ability to make really good decisions guided by ethics and principles that reflect upon nature. And then when we have those solutions start to come to us and we uncover them, we know in our bones that the decisions and then the actions that we can take are supported by nature. They're supported by natural systems. And therefore, they're good decisions to be moving forward with because they're good for our people, they're good for our planet. It's really the thing that's allowed me to feel like I have one of the best livelihoods that I could create, because it's guided by nature. It's guided by the living systems around us. And as I am so intrinsically dedicated to that connection, it's whispering in my ear every time I need it, that deep listening to nature. It's like a voice that's always there. And I want to encourage that voice to be heard by everyone on this beautiful planet. If we go back in time, all of our grandparents, our great-grandparents, our great-great-grandparents, if we go back, say, 7 generations, plants, herbs, herbal knowledge, what's poisonous, what is useful, that knowledge got us to where we are today. And it's about remembering and reconnection. That knowledge healed many injuries. That knowledge nourished many wombs that allowed the children to be born, the future generations. It tended to those that were dying. It brought delight to the ripening of that plant or that fruit or that berry, that also brought the strength and the vitamins and nutrition that people local to those plants needed to live their life, to keep thriving. So the answers are all in nature around us. And through this time of deep disconnect, with gratitude mixed in there really strongly as a really resilient, strong force to live by the sword. That sword of gratitude. I'm just going to cut away the fear right now and bring gratitude strongly present. And with that, then remembering the source of our creator, which is the earth around us. I am born of this earth. I'm indigenous to this earth. And so are my people. And my people are all of us on the planet. We're all in here together. And for us to be connected every day to the plants around us, to the food that we're eating food 3 times a day. So what plants can we connect better to and say thank you to? Thank you before we harvest. Thank you before we eat. And allow that gratitude to be digested really well. And may that be the thriving, living force that allows us to do beautiful things that make a difference in the world every day. So I'd just like to say thank you so much to Neil for the opportunity to make this recording today. And what a delight it has been to reconnect with you after some time. And I wish you all the very best with your podcasts and your connection with the greater world community. And may the merit of this work nourish the ears of everyone that hears it. May some interesting reflections come, and I hope some greater inspiration to go outside and meet the soil barefoot and touch the plants around and say thank you to this life.
And that is a wrap for this interview. I just want to do a big shout out and say thank you to Annaliese for her perseverance and just general pro attitude to this interview. It was the first time I've delivered it in a video form so that we have some special content for our Trove members. And we had some technical difficulties. My internet cut out. We have this wonderful platform called Riverside, which continued the recording, and Annaliese was able just to keep the conversation going. She knew the questions and she was able to continue holding and sharing the knowledge. So big shout out for this to be delivered and to meet all of everybody, all of you listeners, to be able to tune in to such content. Thank you for being part of our Trove community as well. It really means a lot to us. There's 4 presenters. We're delivering an episode every moon cycle for moon phase. So there's 4 episodes per month. And I believe that we are really shining the light on herbalism, permaculture, natural living, and healing with plants. The episode, the podcast itself is reaching people all around the world, and it is with your support. So that $2 a week or $8 a month to be part of our Patreon community makes a huge difference to us delivering the podcast and moving forward with the Healing Sanctuary in Far North Queensland. So thank you. To grow them is to know them is to use them is to love them, and then happily herbs become your way of life. May you be blessed with good health and many plants.